Welcome to the B-side for the second week of November. My name is David Snipes from 7poundbag.com, and this week I thought we would talk about the Inhumans. The season finale, basically could call it the series finale, just ended, and I have some thoughts on it as far as where it went wrong and the problems that Marvel had with it. Let's kick off with, say, there's a lot of information out there as far as why they did the little premiere with the movie, and I think that's step one as far as what went wrong with it. To me, it came across as a Marvel fan as a money grab. I think that was their first major error. It was supposed to have been a movie. I think it may have even worked decently as a movie, depending on who they put with Maximus, who I'll come back to. But I understand expanding it out to a show. I think it could have been a decent show outside of some major errors that kind of tied Marvel's hands, but we'll come back to that. But it kind of reminded me whenever you had music artists in the 80s and 90s, back when we had musical artists, would come up with Christmas albums or they would come up with a dance mix album. It was always a huge, it always looked like a money grab. And for the most part, that's what it was. And this is what Inhumans felt like. They put the first two things out as a movie, try to see if they could get some extra money, maybe even get some positive buzz out of it because of how beautiful it looked. Because it's Hawaii. Hawaii is gorgeous. Duh. And it really didn't do anything. Anybody that I knew that went to go see the movie theater either got free tickets because they were other movie reviewers, or they're one of those type of people that have to go see everything in the theater. Nobody I knew that was a casual movie watcher paid money to go see it. It just didn't happen. So again, it reinforced everything that was bad, and you had more critics come out saying it was lousy. So it was a major failure. I don't know how much money it made. I mean, there's various reports out there. But needless to say, it didn't help the series any. Because when the series came out, when everybody else was looking at it, it was all old information. You look on YouTube, everybody that does reviews for Marvel, they'd seen it, they'd reviewed it, they were waiting for week three. Again, it was a problem. And it was a condensed version of the first two episodes, so even people had to go back and watch it just to see what all they missed, which was not a lot. So let's talk Inhumans, which is now basically Marvel's X-Men. They don't have the movie rights to X-Men, so they're not happy. So now they've got X-Men with the whole Terrigen thing. First positive step they did is they put it in the same slot basically as Avengers, excuse me, as Agents of Shield, which I thoroughly enjoyed Agents of Shield, and since they weren't going to do Peggy Carter anymore, this kind of slid in that. I do find that fairly intelligent for Marvel to do that, to kind of keep a superhero hour-long show there without going full CW on everybody. But I like Peggy Carter better than I like Agents of Shield, and Inhumans was not going to live up to Peggy Carter. I didn't see that happening. So, but I was still willing to give him a shot. Still watched all 8 episodes, just basically because I had to do something while waiting for the Orville to show up. Which I did do a season premiere review episode of that, only for more B-side. By all means, back up on my channel, take a look at that. I may do a season 1 review on that as well. But let's get to the Inhumans cast. All right, first off, we go to our main star. Who's Medusa? Queen of the Inhumans. Uh, I read comics pretty much up to the mid 90s. Medusa is probably the second most important Inhuman as far as the Earth's Mightiest Heroes are concerned. She was a member of the Frightful Four. She's a villain for a while, then she became a member of the Fantastic Four. Superpowers, basically, she's got this magical hair. Which, if you're a young adult, young straight male adult, that's absolutely fascinating. And oh my gosh, is it awesome. Or if you're a gay woman, I guess it's fascinating. But Marvel obviously figured this out. They knew where the whole thing was because the first time we see her, she's in bed with Black Bolt and the hair's all wiggling around. That's awesome. That's kind of what you're looking for. Even when you look on the little logo for the Inhumans, it's got Medusa with this huge, big old bushy red hair. And it's amazing. And you kind of want to see what they can do with it. Yeah, the CGI was kind of crappy, but you can get around crappy CGI. It's one of those things where, yeah, the CGI is crappy, but if it's a good story, you don't care. I mean, some people are going to nitpicky. Some people like me, I can get around it. It's not going to pull me out of the movie unless it's just absolutely dreadful, but it's a lot better than seeing a bunch of it tied up on strings and pulled around by puppeteers. So we have this queen, and basically First thing we do is we shave her head. Okay, spoilers in case you haven't seen it. We're 5 minutes in. Sorry, you're going to get spoiled to it because it's a series review. Guess what? So the first thing we do is we shave her head. Okay, that instantly takes the most fascinating thing about her and gets rid of it. Next thing we do is we turn her into an absolute bitch. I mean, Medusa's a bitch. I mean, she goes to Earth, she meets up with our hot blonde actress, and she's demanding, she's ungrateful, she expects everything to be given to her, she breaks into a house to steal clothes, she basically does whatever the heck she wants, and she don't care. And then she straight up tells Black Bolt, we're going to be co-rulers. I'm your queen, you've done a lousy job, we're going to co-rule once we're back in charge. And this is the person we're supposed to be thankful for. This is the person we're supposed to love. This is the person that we're supposed to be like, oh, great, this is who we want to see win. Why? She did a crappy job when she was in charge, and now she's going to do a crappy job when she comes back because she doesn't even say thank you to the last episode. And even then, she's kind of half-assing it. Like I said, just horribly done. I mean, who roots to have... I mean... Stone Cold Steve Austin was Austin as a heel, and everybody cheered for it because he had charisma. You take the complete charisma out of Stone Cold Steve Austin, you just turn him into an asshole. That's Goldberg as a heel. That doesn't do me any good. And then we come to our second main character, which is basically Karnak. Nope, not Black Bolt. He's basically like fourth as far as importance for the hero characters. But Karnak has this ability in the comics to see the weak point in everything. It's like he can hit a rock just at the right spot to make it break in half or crumble. In this one, they've kind of made it a little better where you can see the flaw in plans. He almost has like a precognition as far as what's going on with it. It's not really well defined. And of course, he has to have a head injury, so he conveniently doesn't have to see it for like half the series. But he's kind of a bit whiny. He's probably one of the more interesting characters, but he kind of treads the line between being a monk and between being whiny, even though he's supposed to be the spectacular warrior. He's kind of interesting. The actor does a fairly good job with him, but it's so limited, it's just not that interesting to me. He spends a whole lot of time just kind of staring at everything, and I kind of get the feeling you could probably cut half his scenes in half and still keep the same impact. So then our third most interesting is Gorgon, who has hoof heels. He can kind of stomp the ground and make shockwaves and all that. He's king of the royal guard. He's a cousin to the rest of the royal family. They never really say if he's cousin of the queen or cousin of the king, but I'm guessing cousin of the king. But he's fairly important. You kind of get a cheat at the end where he dies, but he's brought back. And even though it's supposed to be super dangerous, it's not. Except for to one human, because who cares? But he kind of goes between being an asshole and being a friend. There was a subplot with him and a couple of humans I wish they'd have done more with, even though that's kind of dropped pretty abruptly, to be quite honest with you. And of course, our fourth most important is Black Bolt himself, your king. He's one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. His power keeps getting ramped up, it seems like every time a writer decides to do something with him. He can't speak. I understand that's his power. His vocal cords shoot out sonic energy. Problem with putting that in a TV show is in comics I can read a thought balloon. I can read things going on around him. He has interpreters and all that. Problem in the TV show, when he's separated from his family, he's just a guy using sign language that is supposed to be scary but isn't, because he's just this mute guy. He's not that physically imposing. He's not that impressive looking. I mean, he's not, like I said, he's not, you come across somebody like Goldberg or Andre the Giant in the middle of a dark hallway, you're a little scared of him. You come across Black Bolt in a dark alley, yeah, he kind of just looks like your common construction worker as far as physically. I mean, he's not that impressive. I've been around MMA fighters where if I saw him in a dark alley, I wouldn't be that scared of him, even though he could kick the shit out of me. Kind of the same thing. You come across Cain Velasquez in a dark alley, you might be a little scared of him. You come across Uriah Faber, yeah, he could probably kill me in 30 seconds, but I'm not going to be that scared of him just walking up to him. It's just a stature type thing. Bisping's not an intimidating guy. I got you about 100 pounds, buddy. I'm not that worried about you. Till you triangle me and, like I said, make me pass out. But still, he's not that intimidating looking. And when he doesn't have somebody constantly saying how important he is, it kind of hurts how important he is. He doesn't seem that important. Your minor character is Triton, who, because he's covered in green makeup all the time, he's kind of taken out at the beginning, brought back at the end for the big yay family and closing. So that's your good guys. Who exactly am I happy to see here? Gorgon's really the only one with any charisma. Excuse me there. But he's the only one with any real charisma. He's the only one I really care about. Uh, Karnak you try to care about, but he's such a weak character with his head injury that it kind of cuts him off at the knees. Like I said, Medusa's a bitch and Black Bolt's ineffective. And again, these are the good guys. But yet it's admitted, these people suck as a ruling family. So they suck. They get overthrown by somebody who's going to free the people. And these are all good guys. I don't get it. Maximus's whole thing is that you're being put upon by the ruling family, and unless you get this real nice special power that we can use, we send you to the mines. Yay? Maximus comes along and says, I'm going to free you. We're going to go to Earth. We're going to go to paradise. I'm going to take it to a place where you can actually, go out into the world, show your skills, be free. You won't have to mine all day. What the hell they're mining for the moon? I got no idea. I guess they live on cheese, but still. How exactly is that a bad thing? Why would you want to say no? I like being in the mines and having to use these magic hands that I've got to dig in dirt. No, that's a great thing. Let's keep Black Bolt in charge. Can somebody explain this to me? Your motivations are all screwed. So let's look at the bad guys. We have Ramsay Bolton playing Ramsay Bolton. Actually, I mean he's Ramsay Bolton. Sorry, I mean he's coming off Game of Thrones. He's the most evil character on the show up to this point, depending on how you feel about Yuri and Greyjoy. But he's definitely one of the three monsters that we get on the show. And his beard's the same, his hair's the same, his speech pattern's the same. He's Ramsay Bolton playing Maximus, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, I would think you would at least make him shave or grow a full beard or something to make him where he doesn't like Ramsay Bolton. I don't understand why Marvel said, no, just keep what you've been wearing where everybody on planet Earth knows you as far as being on the biggest show, pretty much cable history. No, just keep that. You'll be fine. Goodness gracious. Okay. And then his second, so I've kind of gone over his motivation. He was turned into a human by the Terrigen Mist, which is almost like a de-evolution as far as the Inhumans are concerned. So I kind of understand him being a little pissy. And come to find out Black Bolt didn't want to be king, doesn't care about being king. Maybe that's why he's a shitty king. Maximus wants to be in charge. He's the more intelligent brother from what we were told. Why wouldn't he be king then? I mean, he's a human, so he's not going to be around much, for long anyway compared to the other Inhumans. Black Bolt did kill his parents accidentally, but that's still regicide. So, again, why is Maximus a bad guy? And Maximus has to do so much stuff to kind of show that he's a bad guy, but he's almost a neutered bad guy. He's more threatening more than, I'm just going to knife you real quick. He's a neutered Ramsay Bolton, which is not that important. It's kind of like, you've neutered Ramsay Bolton. You've kept him as Ramsay Bolton, and yet you don't quite know why he's not a threatening figure. Ramsay Bolton, he's not a physical intimidating presence, going back to that. Black Bolt can whoop him in a fight, obviously. You saw even Karnak and Gorgon beating a snot at him on a regular basis. He's a regular human, so he's not even physically able to do anything, just on a genetic level, because Inhumans are bigger, stronger, faster. What's the point to it? His guard, his number 2 is, in my opinion, pretty impressive. She's got a thing where she can come back to life, but again, she can get beat by Karnak. She can get beat by Gorgon. So I have a person who can't do anything physically, whose top lieutenant is the third best fighter at best in the series. Why are these people? And if you really look at it on the surface, they're in the right. So you have this real problem. And then we come to Crystal. And I saved her for last because this is our problem. When I read comics, which pretty much goes from the mid 60s because I got all the back issues, because back then you could buy them without having to sell a car, to the mid 90s, she's probably the most important Inhumans. She was a member of the Fantastic Four. She's a long term member of the Avengers. She even got mixed up with the X-Men for a little bit. But and she's pretty awesome. She's pretty powerful. So let's turn her into a Valley girl who's basically just there to yell lockjaw every now and again. You completely, you take away the eye candy Medusa and you turn her into the White Grace Jones without the charm from Conan the Barbarian. Oh, Conan the Destroyer. But anyway. And our other hot chick is basically a Valley girl who's pretty much lazy. And whenever they have to interact with the humans, comes across as kind of whiny. And I'm not going to talk about the humans because we kind of got a Transformers thing going on with them, where the Inhumans are all these powerful people, but we got to have humans in there to go do something to move the plot along. Otherwise, they're just standing around. The Doctor I kind of liked. I thought his motivation was entirely unclear and badly written. And the guy that's with Crystal obviously is just a surfer horn dog. The people in the jungle that Gorgon Karnak kind of deal with, I wanted more of them. They were actually kind of more well written, but I kind of get the feeling that if we had 10 episodes instead of 8, maybe they actually mattered. Again, the Gorgon people kind of got dropped off a cliff, and Karnak got into this war that went nowhere, didn't matter at the end. Our female doctor's just there just to be Medusa's bitch. And do what the hell she told her to. So, you've got problems with it. The motivation to me is wrong. The explanation for what they did was wrong. The powers, such as it were, even when they had powers, it's kind of like Agents of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Whenever they're used, they're impressive as all Hades, but they're either not used enough or they're not really used when they should be. It's kind of like Black Bolt. You're in charge of this whole thing. Well, I can't hurt my brother. But at the end, you kill him. And I just want to talk about the ending. He puts Maximus in this thing with all this food and water and all that, and then he says, "Goodbye, brother," and wipes out the whole mountain face. Well, the dome's collapsing, so you're evacuating the entire town, leaving the poor guy that's stuck in a wall just to be there himself, so screw him. There's no air up there once the dome falls, so you're basically going to make Maximus die in the vacuum of space. Good job, Black Bolt. All in all, your big problems with I don't see where there was anything redeeming in the Inhumans. I don't see where there was anything good or valuable about them. The show, somewhat interesting, just as like a good bad movie type thing, but it was over 7 hours a good bad movie. I don't expect it to come back. I don't see a reason for it to come back. It seems like everything they did was wrong, or they were hand-tied. Could they have made Black Bolt able to speak? Maybe changed his powers somewhat? Sure. Could they put a tuning fork in his forehead? Sure. Was it casted wrong? Outside of Karnak, not really. And I don't think the guy that played Karnak really did a bad job. It was just, they told him to emote. Look off to the sky. Act confused. And that's pretty much what happened. I just think it was really shoddily done, and to tell you the truth, had it been a movie, it would obviously be worse than Thor. Where do they go from here? I kind of don't see the Inhumans popping up anymore. I could see them popping up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. every now and again. I could definitely see them doing something with Kristen Lockjaw, because Lockjaw was pretty interesting, but all he basically did was just teleport people. I mean, he basically could have been taking space with Scotty from the Enterprise. So no, overall I would give it a 1. I don't see any point to it whatsoever when it comes out on DVD, which inevitably will, unless it's dirt stinking cheap with some with a whole ton of special features, like commentary tracks, some actual comic book guys, or the director getting beaten while he's watching this thing for everything he did wrong. I just think it was a complete and utter total miss. But thank you for putting up with me. I don't know if the audio is better for you. I'm sure my son will let you know if it's will let me know if it's even better or worse. But please, by all means, hit 7poundback.com. I am still trying to work my way through the zombie series. I'm so sorry I'm far behind. Again, I'm trying to kind of get my life a little better straightened out. Please like and subscribe. Please leave me any comments that you'd like. And hopefully, I will see you next week with the hopefully return to the A side. I want to talk about Bellator and their heavyweight tournament coming up. But y'all have a great weekend. Again, follow me on all the things, Twitter thing below. And as always, Buck Kobe.